What's away from the average? Mr. 8 plus over here. Is this the apocalypse? Yeah, we're still gonna get 8 and 4 stuff.
But that's includes, like, we also get an excuse and drop in
I'm only at 51 first, so I'm here. Well, actually, no. What was the curve on the first test?
If we turned our excuse in with the first notebook, you've got it. If we turned in the excuse with the first notebook, you've got it.
Midterm? 70.
Making sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
we had like the same thing on everything. I didn't cheat off you. I actually needed to shoot. But we were screwed.
Like apart from each one, it's one question that you drop and just do a big extra. But you do get one question.
Is this on the final?
Okay.
With the tooth, yes.
It's only 1 or 2 questions.
It's like one to two.
The teeth.
You get one mark out of the 4.
But I am posting this too.
Microscope question marked out, and it will count out the accessory question for it and the microscope question. Is that so? No, you can ID it, you get it wrong, and then cross it out, and we won't grade it.
You have to do it together, so you can't like mark out a microscope. And see,
You'll tell us about this again on Thursday, right? You'll tell us about that again.
Okay, so basically, here's an adult tooth. You don't have that many questions on these on your exam, so I focus on the other stuff. But do know these, they're still important. Basically, all the slides we're going to look at, the teeth have been demineralized, so you're not going to see any of the enamel that we love for when you find bodies of fire. That's all that. Everyone thinks of this treatment after that. Great. So your basic parts of your teeth are the crown, or that portion of the tooth that's above the gum line, and then of course the root, and that's what you can't see of the tooth that extends into that jawbone. And so our jawbone around our teeth is called this alveolar bone, and it's going to be filled with lovely narrow cavities all throughout it. And one really important thing about the connection between the tooth and the alveolar bone is this lovely thing right here. And this is going to be your lovely periodontal ligament. And this ligament basically connects the tooth from the bone so your teeth just don't fall out all over the place when you're eating. To do this, the ligament will have different collagen fibers extending from that ligament into that alveolar bone, and then also from the ligament into the dentin of this tooth. And so the collagen fibers that extend from the ligament into the alveolar bone are the Sharkey fibers. And then the ones that extend into the dentin of the tooth are called cementum.
Which ones go into the alveolar?
The ones that go from here are Sharkey fibers, and the ones that go into the dentin are cementum. I kind of rhymed, so remember that. In all these slides too, you can notice right here, there's an artifact running through them. It happens a lot in the teeth, so if you get that, it's, yeah, a random artifact. If we go back up to the crown of our tooth, again, we have all this lovely dentin through the inside of that tooth. You're also going to have a pulp running through it. You can only see a single section right here, but this pulp does run along the length of that tooth. It's where all our nerves are and how they make so much money, so they sell like substantive toothpaste. Basically, it's just again going to be filled with nerves. And if we zoom in on this pulp region next to the dentin, there's going to be another layer in that pulp region. And this layer is just filled with odontoblasts, which are going to be tall columnar cells that secrete dentin, which makes sense since the dentin's right here. And to get that dentin out and like to the rest of the tooth, they're going to have these wavy white fibers throughout the dentin, and these are called tomes fibers. And basically, when those cells secrete this dentin, it just follows the fibers out and can kind of solidify in our teeth and keep them strong. Also, around the crown, you're going to have the sulcus. It's just known another kind of explanatory term for it is just the gingival sulcus. And this is gonna be where the enamel would have been if we had demineralized this tooth. You might also see on some of your slides this area called a vestibule, and this is gonna be where basically your gingiva that's surrounding your teeth and then your lip are, so it's like that little space in between if I hold out my mouth, which I'm not gonna do.
What did you say, where would the enamel would be? Where would the enamel be?
It's gonna be all right here in this gingival sulcus, so it'd be like up around here, would be our normal looking tooth. Alright, so, it's a movie, forgot it's a movie. Okay. Yeah, so if we zoom in on this area right here, that's the next image. Again, we're in that gingival sulcus. It can also be called the enamel space right here, because of course enamel would be in that space. And there's again some other important kind of epithelial tissue running along this enamel space where your tooth would be. And this is called the junctional epithelium. And this is the epithelium that would be directly connecting to your teeth with that gingiva. And then you're also going to have another layer of epithelium up top, and this is going to be called that sulcular epithelium. And that's kind of that little bit of gum around your teeth that is kind of protruding around it. You know, you have, to kind of explain, you have your tooth right here, lovely tooth, and you have a little bit of gum line right here. That's kind of loose around that tooth, that little area, and that's just what I'm talking about with that sulcular epithelium. And this becomes important with things like gingivitis, I believe, where when they prick at your teeth at the dentist's office, they're checking to see if your junctional epithelium is starting to pull away from the base of your enamel. For all those dentists. Okay. For the rest of this lovely gingiva, you're gonna of course have keratinized layers on the outside, because skin just does that. You can also have the gingival epithelium, which will also be keratinized. Just kind of two different layers to that. And then this general area, this lamina propria, is just gonna be an area full of neural crest cells in our developing embryo. It's also gonna have a lot of loose connective tissue and nerves, and it's why our mouth is pretty sensitive. No. Alright, so here is tooth development in the pig. This is pretty early on. We're cutting through basically a frontal section, and you can tell because we're cutting into that nasal cavity right here, and then also some venereal nasal organs, which are just kind of pheromone sensing organs in our pig. You can also see our lovely tongue in our oral cavity, so we know we're in the mouth down here. And then of course, we're gonna have some cell development happening on both sides of the jawline. And these is basically just gonna be called the labiogingival lamina. It can also be called the vestibular lamina, and we'll see that in a second on this slideshow. Basically, this is where teeth will develop from. You can see a start of one right here. It will basically ingress from this labial gingival lamina, and when it ingresses, it forms the dental lamina, or the tooth bud, if you want to call it that. And of course, you'll have it happen on both your mandibular and maxillary processes of your jaw. So if we zoom in on that dental lamina, we can just see there's a bunch of head mesenchyme, incandescent pulp mesenchyme just hanging around it, helping that tooth develop. There will be a lot of capillaries hanging out to the region. And again, the tooth bud and enamel organ, but really the enamel organs only form when the structure takes on a C shape to it, just like your otic vesicle gets that weird round shape to it. This one's just forming a C, kind of in a band of tissue. And it will basically just go along until it gets this little node to it, and it will start having different layers. It's going to have this outer sheath surrounding it on either side, and it's also going to have an inner sheath. And we'll talk about it more in a second, but the inner sheath, which is not pointed out here, will contain amnioblast cells, and these are the cells that secrete enamel, or that really hard surface of our teeth. So right here, again, these dental papilla, they're just going to be the condensation of those odontoblasts that we talked about, or those cells that secrete dentin. If you ever see primordium, again, it's every time you see something with like primordial in it, it just means primitive or rudimentary. And all these stages we're looking at right here are just known as the cap stage. You're asked questions about that. So here we moved on to the bell stage. Basically, we can see a really nice outer enamel layer, or outer sheath, a lovely inner enamel layer. And it's just going to have those amnioblast cells in it secreting enamel. So if we go to a close-up of this later stage in tooth development, we again can see those pre-amnioblast cells that will form the amnioblast cells to secrete enamel. And then of course we'll have odontoblasts in the center. You think about it, the dentins in the center and the enamels on the outside of the tooth. And of course those odontoblasts are going to form predentin, which is this lightly blue staining stuff in the tooth. And then of course dentin, which is always going to be pretty directly staining pink or red. And that's just between those odontoblasts and preamnioblasts. You'll just see that dentin hanging out from there. And then one last thing, this stellate reticulum is just between the outer enamel layer and then the inner enamel layer of our teeth.
You're big now.
Yeah. The stellate reticulum is just that like area in between the inner and outer sheaths. Or inner and outer enamel epithelium. And then if we go into a really developed tooth, if this is a molar right here, that's forming in a pit, I believe. And again, we're going to have that stellate reticulum that's in between the inner and outer sheath around that molar. Again, just some pulp hanging out there. And if we take a close-up of that image, you can see that pulp where all those neurons will be surrounded by those odontoblasts that will secrete dentin. And we can see some dentin or predentin has been secreted here in blue and are now formed dentin in red. And then of course we will have our lovely amnioblasts, because this tooth is more developed, and they're going to be secreting enamel to keep the teeth strong. And then you can also have an enamel space in between dentin and amnioblast. And then that's just a review slide for some reason. You have all of this stuff on your digital lab wall, so I'll be all for that. Are there any questions on this? Pretty simple.
You have a regret. She's telling me about the library.
On the tooth?